Alright guys, you might be wondering why I'm starting this video out with me fighting the Desert Scourge, even though I had not done that last video, so it's not even a repeat. But that's because this whole video kind of runs like a boss rush. I beat so many bosses in this video, and so many different events too, and we also made a ton of upgrades to our armor and weapons. So, if this video is gonna like kind of work more like a boss rush, and I hope you guys enjoy kind of the little montage of killing bosses I've put together. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and enjoy the show. After killing the Desert Scourge, I added another relic to the stand and opened the treasure bag to get stuff that would be essential for the next part of the playthrough. The first thing we did after killing Desert Scourge was craft a ton of sea remains for the Victide armor and our next book, the Coral Spout. Now, the Coral Spout works like this. So it's got two different modes. First is kind of a shotgun mode where you can basically shoot out 5 different projectiles like this, or you can charge it up fully to shoot one long blast, which is what I would do most of the time. The next thing I did was go down to the mushroom biome to fight Crabulon, where I found this weird sword that I just couldn't mine for some reason. And then I decided it was time to fight Crabulon. So here's how that went. After beating Crabulon, I consumed the mushroom plasma root and also equipped the fungal clump just because I had literally no survivability at this point. So that was just a nice addition to have. And then we instantly got ready to fight our next boss. But first, of course, we added our relic to the stand, making 3 for this video. Next on our list was the Brain of Cthulhu. I mean, I felt decent about this fight, except for the fact that my main weapon was a circular projectile weapon, which means that I would have to hit the wrong brain pretty much every time. At least that's how I thought it worked, but that's not really how it ended up working because of the mushroom clump most of the time. And no, this fight actually started off pretty well. I was kind of destroying the creepers because, you know, I had the frost and the range, so that part of the fight was pretty easy. And then we got into second phase. Second phase was honestly terrible. The brain not only had new attacks, but it was also the evil boss I fight less often. Like, I pretty much always choose corruption when I choose what I do for my world. So seeing these bloody spears, along with the fact that I already don't fight this boss most of the time, made it a lot harder than it should have been. But hitting the right brain wasn't really a problem, which was a huge. But then it started doing this thing where it splits into 9. And I mean, I was dodging it pretty well for the most part until here, where I kind of just fumbled everything. So here, the brain summons with the spears started to be a little much. It was converging right on top of me, and I kept getting hit by the spheres. I got low, and I just messed up and died right here. So then it was time to do something else. So for this event, I decided that I could just use my old Desert Scourge arena alongside my fungal clump and my veering wind and coral spout, and that should be everything I kind of need to take care of the army. And it ended up working pretty well. Like, it took me a while to get over there because I had no pylon yet, but once I got there around here, then it became pretty easy to do the event. Like, I only died once this whole time, And that was just kind of because I stopped paying attention. Like I was watching Netflix on my other monitor, and it was going really well, so I wasn't too worried about the event at all. And after I finished that event pretty easily, I decided to fight a boss, which was well overdue, in the Eye of Cthulhu. I'm not even gonna do like some like fancy song or anything like that for this boss. It was pretty simple. Like I just shot it out with my coral spout for a while. I used the veering wind to stop knockback, which it actually did most of the time. Like I still didn't fully understand how the weapon worked, but like about half of the time it would stop the knockback of like literally any boss. And I used the veering wind for most of the bosses I fought this video. I think up until the perforators I used the veering wind for the majority of my damage. The only bad part about it was when anything that I could right click was in the way, it right clicked it instead of doing my attack, which did matter for campfires or any gravestones from me dying in the arena ever. But yeah, I thought it was pretty easy. Like here's second phase, and the only new attack that second phase brought was like the bloody spears again that were kind of seen in the Brain of Cthulhu, but it was much easier this time. Like I kind of ended up just plowing through it, and I made quick work of the Eye of Cthulhu. So that was another relic that I could add to the stand. The next thing we did was fight the Brain of Cthulhu fully. I'm not going to walk through this fight again because I already kind of talked about my strategy, which was just to use the Veering Wind for the creepers and kind of just kill them with the crowd control frostburn effect, which was pretty effective. And then for second phase, just kind of the same thing. I'd spam the right click of the Veering Wind. I mean, I also used the Coral Spout a bit more in this fight, but the main difference was that I actually had potions on this time, so it was doable. And yeah, that was the Brain of Cthulhu dead. And now it's time for our next boss. And that of course meant another relic for the stand. The next thing I did was find the meteorite and craft full meteor armor, which I would end up using for a decent bit. I low-key forgot to record myself finding the meteor, but I mean it's pretty uneventful because I actually have ore extractinator now, so it was literally just one of mine. It was so satisfying though. I'm like low-key upset I didn't record it. But yeah, now we had meteor armor, which meant my damage and defense were going up. And it was still nice to have the Victide armor too, which I put on kind of an ocean slash like exploration build I had, because it was still much faster to travel most of the time, just because water's kind of the biggest issue when we're traveling from left to right in our world. But yeah, I was finally ready to try to fight some more bosses and stuff like that. So here's me attempting the perforators for the first time. I'm not gonna lie, for the first couple attempts of fighting the perforators, I didn't even know you could craft a spawn for them, and I didn't know there's a crimson chest like right next to it that had all the stuff you needed to craft a spawn for them. So I just had to break the sys and then run down to my arena the same way you would fight Brain of Cthulhu or Eater of Worlds in like a normal Terraria world. So after I broke this cyst, the perforators got summoned, and let's just say the fight didn't go that well. After quickly running down to my arena, I tried to use the Veering Wind and the Coral Spout to fight the boss, but because there were gravestones, campfires, and a chest that I just somehow didn't see, I couldn't use my right click like half the time, which was like not only super annoying, but it also meant that my damage was basically halved. I mean, like the right click was most of my damage. I mean, pretty much all my damage, honestly. I was using the left click for the first time, pretty much. I didn't even know what it did, and I didn't even have the slow that you usually get from using the right click, so that wasn't great. I also wasn't using the Brain of Confusion at this point, which was definitely something I needed to do. And a blood moon started in the middle of this fight, which was also terrible. So yeah, just everything was going wrong. I didn't know what I was doing as the purse here, and I didn't even know what how the boss works. So I didn't know what the second worm that spawned around here was, and I also didn't know what the flaming puddles on the ground did, like in terms of what their debuffs were. And I kept opening this chest, like I didn't figure out until like way after this boss fight, like embarrassingly long after, that there was even a chest there. I just thought I was clicking into my inventory for some reason. I didn't even know what was going on. But yeah, no, that was the chest, and that was the chest that actually had the Crimson Effigy, which would carry me through the boss fight. I actually did win against the Perforators eventually, so a little spoiler there, but yeah. And I ended up dying just because I had no clue what was going on with this boss. But I didn't even do too bad. Like, I got him kind of low, not like super duper low, but kind of low. And we ended up dying and coming back to the Crimson to try to see what we could do better. I then experienced my first Calamity Blood Moon, which wasn't too different from vanilla. Like, it just had slightly more enemies, and they dropped bloody orbs, which were like these things that you could use to craft any potion you wanted. So that was nice, but nothing too crazy about that. I then tried to fight Skeletron. I don't know what I was thinking here. I found a photosynthesis potion, and I thought, huh, yep, that'll save me from Skeletron. That'll show him. But I actually didn't even end up using it because I was like, wait, it would literally be nighttime. That wouldn't even do anything. But I was like, yeah, I can take out Skeletron, and then I can get the Cursed Flame, and I could use that to beat the Perforators. So I tried to fight him. First of all, I was on the wrong build when I started this. I was on my Victide armor build just for exploring, and I didn't have a hotkey to switch loadouts. So that was kind of terrible. And then we switched back to the main build, but my grappling hook wasn't long enough to reach the thing like half the time, which was kind of terrible. So I needed to fix how I did my platforms. But we were still doing a little bit of damage to him, like nothing too crazy, but we were almost through one of the hands. And then I just kind of slipped up, and I was getting really low, trying to use a little blue field, whatever it did. And clearly didn't do much because I was still dying. I almost killed one of the hands here, and then I actually finally fully got it down. And then Skeletron started teleporting again, and he killed me with all of his different stuff. Like, I didn't even know how he was teleporting, to be honest. I had no clue what I was doing in this fight. But, yeah, that was a complete disaster. And here I finally picked up that Crimson Effigy I was talking so much about, which meant that it would be much easier for me to fight the Perforators. And after all of that prep time, getting the Crimson Effigy down, I finally prepped a decent amount of potions for this, just a little bit. And I used the handheld summon to finally fight the Perforators. And just like that, the Perforators were taken down, and we could finally mine Aerolite ore. And of course, that's another relic for the stand. I then mined a ton of Aerolite to make the trade winds, which would be our next weapon, along with some armor from the Aerolite bars. I then made the trade winds, and I just want to show you guys how strong it is. So here's me fighting the Desert Scourge with the trade winds. The best part about the trade winds is that the feathers rapid fire like it's a mini shark, except instead of 6 damage per bullet, it does 35. The only bad thing about it is that I don't have enough mana to shoot it for an infinite amount of time, which is the only reason it took even more than like 5 seconds to kill the Desert Scourge, was because I had to stand still and wait for mana. But I mean, I still destroyed it. That's it for today's video. This is just a clip of me fighting the Old One's army with the trade winds and the bouncing feathers. I mean, you can't even see them walk onto the stage, which is I just thought was really funny. But yeah. So I feel like we covered a decent bit of ground today. I think next time we should be able to beat the Wall of Flesh and unlock some more spell books, like the Skull Book from Skeletron and the Demon Tithe, of course. But I don't even know if those are better than the trade winds. Really enjoying this so far, and I do think at this point that I would definitely be able to beat the game with only books in Terraria Calamity. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.